think about the investors that started, post 2010, after the lost decade, right? You have a 10-year window where, markets have just been incredibly resilient.
Been great, yeah.
And not only that, but, anytime you had a correction,
it was short.
It was short, and you had a quick recovery.
Yep.
And so when you take a step back, you do have to ask the question, what's so different today than in the 80s and 90s, right? Because this bubble keeps getting bigger and bigger. And I think one of the big catalysts that has allowed it to get this far is the quantitative easing programs.
Federal Reserve.
It's the cash, the capital that gets pumped into the markets and bailouts.
Yeah.
And what was interesting is in 2008, the great financial crisis, right? They were, I define it as, we were in air, they were in air writing the playbook as to how do we survive this massive catastrophe. And what did they do? They threw a ton of money at it. So when COVID hit and we do this great experiment of global shutdown, never been done before, right? Global shutdown. And what did they do? They went back and they grabbed that playbook from 2008.
And they said, let's implement this now.
They blew the dust off of it and they said, we can make this 5 times bigger, and pumped endless amounts of money into the system.
And do it now.
It happened almost overnight.
Right.
And here's my problem with that. If we are truly going to be a capitalistic free market, you have to allow free markets to operate appropriately. Japan found themselves in a very similar situation, right? They tried to stimulate their way out of it. The issue is they've never had the growth to support getting off of this steroid that keeps getting pumped into their economy, and eventually it starts to stall out. So 2008 could have been a whole lot worse than what it was. And who knows? History will tell us if it was the right move to pump money into the system. I'm not here to say one way or the other.
Well, we still don't know what the exit strategy is.
We don't know the exit strategy. But I do know that anytime you're running high deficits, anytime you're leaning on the Federal Reserve to bail your bond markets out like they did last year in 2020. And I want to be very clear on that. Between March 7th and March 9th, bond markets behind the scenes were
they were frozen.
Frozen in a mess. I mean, liquidity was an issue. Federal Reserve appropriately stepped in and kept cash flow going. Bond markets kind of settled in. But at what point, Dean, do you have to take a step back and say, when is free markets going to operate again? Because this is, artificially driving, I think, prices up, valuations up. And the big hope in this great experiment is, can we grow our way into the success that we've seen? And when you look at global shutdown and, coming back online, I don't know that it has the legs. And all of this is just speculation, too.
Sure, absolutely.
Right? Just speculation. And so I want to bring this entire conversation of concerns that we have back to what is something that we can try to control within our environment. And that is, when you review the investments that are available to you, can you try to control the risk to the best of your ability?
Starting your route to retirement.